Hi, this is Sim.
This is Ian.
We're here to talk about the psychology behind professional development. And today's topic is stress and anger management during the workplace. Ian, have you ever experienced stress in the workplace?
Never.
I
No,
knew it.
so as a former social worker and teacher,
Mhm.
I have never experienced stress or any of those negative feelings at all.
There you go.
Maybe
There you go.
once,
You have
okay,
it. That's
there
our
there
episode.
might have been a
Oh,
day. There might have been one day that happened, but beyond that one day, I mean, that was
uh-huh.
pretty much it. I mean, might have been a Tuesday or
Yeah.
Wednesday, and
Yeah.
it could have been for like 20 minutes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think if you don't experience stress, I think you're
Mhm.
not truly at your job because I feel there
Yeah.
is absolutely no way that a person cannot experience stress at their job. There is no climate, there is no occupation, there is no conflicting personalities, there is no
Mhm.
customer or whoever you're working with or for that it doesn't have that happen. It's just there's just no way.
It's just built in,
Yeah.
right? It like even at life,
Yeah.
you could have the most luxurious, relaxing life
Yeah.
possible, yet you will experience stress. Your body
Hmm.
will experience stress because it's part of saying what matters and what takes effort, because
Yeah.
everything takes effort, right?
Yep.
And you're so right. Like it would be incredible to not be stressed at your job,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
need to clarify this a little bit because there's eustress and there's distress,
Right.
right? Eustress is the positive stress that energizes us, that motivates us to keep moving and keep doing. Where distress is, it's really tearing us down. Right? It's a
Yeah.
negative type of stress.
I think maybe we confuse the two
But we do. I mean, we group it as
constantly.
stress,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we need to recognize when we are in the eustress, which is the positive stress that gets us more energy, gives us more energy, versus when we're in distress, where it just robs us of our energy.
And I guess it's good to know the two specifically so they can be
Mhm.
addressed individually and to recognize I think we're talking about in a moment in terms of stressors, the emotion of stress, the feeling
Mhm.
of stress, and how to better deal with it because I am over the years haven't dealt with it very well. And maybe you
Yeah.
have. See, I don't know if people. So we're going to go off topic real fast. I don't know if people know this about either of us or both of us. Sim
Mhm.
is really calm in his non-computer realm, outside the computer realm, and probably inside the computer
Yeah.
realm. Very calm. I am not. I seem calm, but I get stressed out really easily. And so,
Mhm.
because of that, or let me rephrase that, I don't handle stress well. So whether it is at work, or was it work, or whether it's at home, or whether it's in other situations in between. I don't deal with stress well, and I get really
Yeah.
just like, you know, they say the red hair thing, like if you're red hair, you're really angry all the time and you have real quick temper. Like,
No.
I don't blame the hair for that. But I do think that it's, talking about stressor, I don't think I'm the
Yeah.
only one that is within that world of quick
No.
quick reaction unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So that's what
No,
we're here to
Ian,
kind of talk about.
I will divulge, uh, something from the past. Because when I got stressed earlier in life, I would almost have like panic attacks,
Yeah, yeah,
right? It would go from, I'm okay, all the way to like, 110
yeah,
of me just ripping my hair out, as you can see. Um, right? Because I was so panicked
yeah,
that life is not going to work out. Everything is in a danger zone. And I could not get past the next 24 hours. Like that level of panic would just set in and it was debilitating.
yeah,
Talk about distress, right? I was okay. I was okay. And then tipping point happened and
yeah,
just went completely like, oh my gosh, I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't do anything unless I take care of whatever it was. And then I found myself in this journey of like, I can't live like this. What can I do to improve my stress management?
yeah,
And in a previous episode, I think I mentioned like I've been meditating for I don't know, about 20 years, 20 plus years. That is something that has helped shape how I look at stress.
Mm,
If I hadn't discovered that when I did, I think I would be living with panic attacks and high anxiety most of my adult life.
yeah,
So again, you see me, and I appreciate you seeing me as calm, and
very
that
calm.
is my goal, is to stay calm. But whenever I am in a stressful situation, I get quiet,
Yeah,
right? I start
yeah.
removing myself from that situation physically or mentally, maybe both. The way what that looks like. I'll share this story. One of our friends asked if I could marry them.
Hmm,
Right. I was like,
that's nice.
I froze because I was so emotionally charged. And all I could do is like laugh and just giggle. That emotion just
Right,
overpowered everything.
sure.
So I needed to set back, tell myself, breathe. It's okay. Right. Just keep breathing.
Yeah.
And then I was able to return to a place and share my excitement about, what they had just asked.
And did you do it? Did you
Now,
marry them?
I did. I did. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was memorable. It was just incredible experience. Leading up to it, I was stressed. I was like,
Right,
of course. But it
right,
was a
right.
eustress, right? I
Yes,
was happy to do this
yes.
and happy to learn because I have never done this before. So I was happy to
Okay.
learn, right? I got my certificate and all of it. Yeah, yeah. On the opposite side, when my friends were getting laid off at one of my previous jobs, my stress was just
Yeah.
like, it felt like just running in circles trying to figure out like what to do because my body had so much energy and so much anger, so much frustration, so much fear that I didn't know what to do in this situation, right? And it took me a minute of meditation, mindful walking, and some physical activities to get that energy before I could actually respond and react to what was happening.
So it just I think because of the current climate today when it comes to the job market, when it comes to 10 times as many stressors to either
Oh,
keep your
yes.
job or to
Mhm.
leave your job,
Mm.
right? There's just so many stressors that are involved in on a daily basis just from a job standpoint. We're even talking about
Yeah,
the stressors that you're bringing from home to to where you work because that's
right.
also and they go hand in hand, right? If you're stressed out at
They
work,
do.
you're gonna be stressed out at home and vice versa. There's just no two ways around it.
Yeah.
You can't leave one stressor. You can't even severance it. You
Mhm.
have to
Yeah,
you can't leave one you just can't leave one. It's gonna go with you
you
wherever
can't.
you are. So, it's not just the stressor at work, it's just the
Right.
stressors in general.
Yeah. Like for an example, stress is a great indicator of what is within our boundary and within our scope
Right.
and what is beyond our scope, right? Whenever we are in the use stress, we can say comfortably and confidently, like, hey, this is something exciting that is increasing the boundary is of what I'm able to do. Where we're in distress, we are essentially our body, our internal mechanism are saying like, this is overwhelming. This is not possible. It's asking too much of ourselves, right? And this is not acceptable. We don't often say this is not acceptable. So we say, yes, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
We'll carry the
Yeah.
stress, right? Even if it's at work, if it's at home, if it's personal, wherever it is, we keep carrying it on. Especially if we're men, right? We have that notion of, I can't ask for help, right? I gotta burden all of this myself.
Yeah, that aspect is definitely something that can be a whole other, um, podcast for sure,
Yeah.
with the, expecta the gender expectation at home, at
Hmm.
work, um
Yes,
for sure, and I know
definitely.
that if you don't identify as a male and you identify in another gender, that has its own stressors as well.
It does. It
Just on
absolutely
its
does.
own, just on its
Yeah.
own. Even talking about
Yeah.
home, even not even talking about work. I mean, so
Mhm.
it's just amazing how these where these stressors are, and then
Mhm.
how to deal with them while
Yeah.
you are carrying them with you on a daily
Mhm.
basis. It's just just talking about it, like if you break it down, and again, you are more calm than I am, so I can easily, just roll off those stressors,
Yeah.
no problem, because unfortunately, it's easy for me for that to happen and to list them.
So what do we
It's
do?
tricky. Yeah, that's
Right.
that's a, and I think you probably have some really good techniques to deter, to
Like
figure out how to work with those.
absolutely, absolutely. I do. But one of the key things that I want us to share is when we're stressed, it's hard for us to think that we're stressed and act in that moment. Right? It becomes a reaction rather than a response, and that can create more
Yeah,
domino effects.
yeah.
Right. And it's so difficult. It's so difficult to pause and stop when we go from not stressed to, oh my gosh, right? We're at a 10 out of 10 on the stress. I am so curious. And what are some things that you do to recognize that you are feeling stress? And right now we're talking about distress.
So the things that I think how I recognize that there is distress is there are physical attributes, like
Mhm.
so for example, I can feel my body react in certain ways that are specific to the situation. So if my body is fine and I feel like in the chest area, not a heart attack, but like in
Mhm.
the chest area where it becomes a little warm,
Tightening,
a little tightening, right?
warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then it becomes like, all right, hang tight. If I feel myself talking rather quickly and without a period and like not making sense because I'm so angry and frustrated, like, so it's like one long, incoherent sentence, then I
Mhm.
know, okay, maybe it's time to kind of, turn it down, take a
Yeah.
breather, put a period in the middle of that incoherentness. So at least if I put the
Mhm.
period in there, I end the sentence and
There's
have to take a
pause.
breather, right? Take the breather, take the
Yeah.
pause and say, okay, and then just kind of go from there. So those are just a couple examples. Where are you with that
Yeah.
in terms of what are your telltales?
It's neck and shoulders,
Ooh, good one.
neck and shoulders, day
Yeah,
and night, day and night.
yeah,
I'll start stretching out my shoulders because it's so tight,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's one of my first indicators of I'm feeling stress.
Mhm.
And as it builds, right, then it becomes my chest and my back,
Okay,
right? So essentially, think about it from my neck. It slowly starts moving down my body of muscles just tightening,
got it.
right? That warmth, also happens, but it's for me, it's at a later stage of
Okay.
like everything's tight and then I start feeling hot and warm. And I also start getting thirsty because I'm just
Mm,
trying to, I think, just to cool my body internally. And my thoughts are almost frozen where the stress is just building and I'm
yeah,
just ping ponging between my stress and my concerns and
yeah,
how I'm going to deliver.
right.
So my processing, my response time is slowed because of this.
So
As
now are
yeah,
those responses or are those reactions?
these are reactions,
Okay,
right? Response is what I might share. Reactions might be what is something that I'm sharing out loud. That's how I differentiate it.
okay,
For me, what is internal and then what is external, right? Because within that time, if I were to speak out, it might sound like a whisper. I get quiet when I'm
right,
overexcited, overstressed.
right.
Right. So again, we're all different. We all have different symptoms, different triggers, different ways of measuring our
Yep.
stress. I know it's time for me to do something about a situation where it impacts my sleep, where I'm laying in bed and
Mhm.
I'm only thinking about what is stressing me out.
Right,
Right.
right.
So again, for me, it starts with the neck and shoulders and just gradually goes through my body in my thoughts. And then if it's disturbing my sleep, I have to do something within 24 hours or else
Mm.
it just ruins me.
So the sleep is the last straw, essentially. Sleep is like the
For me,
okay,
yes.
okay,
Yes. At that point, I'm like, you know what? Regardless of the consequence, I have to act here because it's disturbing something that I set as hard boundary for is protecting my sleep.
so when that all happens, with the
Yeah.
sleep being the final, I guess, like the straw, right?
Mhm.
The final straw. Do you find that the final straw is there's a pattern of what that straw is? And then do you finally
Great.
address it saying, okay, it's been this not this specific issue, but these types
Mhm.
of issues are leading
Mhm.
me to lack of sleep. Therefore, I need to now address the key issue at hand because it's just this
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah, great question. So there's two components to this. Okay, one is situation and one is systemic.
Mm,
All right. So when it's situational, I try to address it within 24 hours.
okay.
That means something happened. It made me feel a certain way. I'm feeling overstressed, angry,
Yeah.
frustrated, whatever that is. Right, annoyed, etc. I need to cool down enough where I can go back and have a conversation and share, like, hey, something that you said, something you're asking me, and so on and so forth. This crosses a boundary. So how can we negotiate? Right. This is like a healthy conflict of, hey, what was asked did not meet my expectation. We need to adjust the expectation, the ask, so it works for me and for both of us. Right. Whatever, whoever's involved in this case. So once that situation is addressed and modified to bring that stress level down where I'm not losing my sleep,
Hmm.
right? Later on, I will reinvestigate and go inwards to say, like, okay, what was it actually happening? What boundary was being crossed that led me to this level of stress, this level of frustration,
Mm,
right? This
yeah.
level of annoyance, anxiety, whatever it is,
Right.
the distress, right? And once I start figuring things out, it's like, okay, this happened here, this happened here, this happened here. So there's clearly a theme.
Yeah.
Then I ask, okay, what is the theme actually trying to do? And this is where coaching counselors are
Hmm.
critical
Yeah. Agreed.
because I can make up whatever I justify, whatever theme I'm seeing. But again, that's a solo perspective rather than a 360 perspective, right? I think this is where a lot of us get stuck. It's like, oh, I figured out my trigger. Like, okay, but that's a solo identification, not a 360
Yeah.
identification of it. This episode is sponsored by Balanced at Last, my coaching services. That's balancedatLast.com. If you are curious about how I can help you, please schedule a free consultation call, a 20-minute call to assess your challenges and ways my services can help you. Mention you are a podcast listener and receive 20% off your coaching services. Offer valid for a limited time. Visit balancedatLast.com or scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description below. Thank you for listening. What are the root causes of it?
Yeah, you definitely need
So I'll
another
talk
pair
to,
of eyes. Yeah, you definitely need an
yeah,
outside pair of eyes
absolutely.
for sure, because
Yeah,
you can manipulate your own situation and then justify it accordingly, and then say, well, that's the reason why
100%.
I'm stressing out is because I'm doing this, this, and this. Well, if you
Hmm.
get another set of eyes on there without any bias, if you tell that
Yeah,
individual your situation, and maybe that individual will recognize a pattern and
yes.
then maybe set you on a different course than you thought you were going to be on,
Right,
which is
right.
again, I can't agree with you enough. You've got to have a coach. You have to have a coach
Y-
without doubt.
you have to have support, right? You have
Yes.
to have
Yep.
have support
That's right.
because we often get to this level. Many of us get to this level without recognizing there may be multitudes of triggers,
Mm,
but we've identified one and we feel satisfied.
yep.
And then we just keep moving forward. And then we find ourselves in that same situation, same stressful space again and
Yes.
again and again, largely because only one of those triggers were identified where there could have been 10, there could have been 15, right? There could have been five, whatever it is. And this is where the challenge comes in is how do you go deeper from there? Because within those triggers, there's also a pattern. And then you go deeper still. And it's often, goes towards the counseling side because you have to do more of an inventory of your previous life past to recognize what are some of the things that weren't met and you had to adjust to for your own survival, for your own protection, for your own sake.
Yeah. And I think in addition to that, I think that if you look at
Mm.
stressors at home and stressors at
Yeah.
work, there's a really
Yeah.
good chance there's some serious correlation between the
Hmm.
two. And then to say, why are these the same or very close to being similar? Here's the pattern in both environments. Okay. It looks like I need to work on this to address these numerous issues. And I think if you take a step back and you do a self inventory, I think that kind of
Hmm.
helps the problem. I think
Yeah.
I think like myself, sometimes I don't put the work and I need to. And I think there are many people out there like me that they say, well, I'm stressed. I know how to deal with it. It's that, to your
Mhm.
point, it's a reaction. It's not the, it's just, okay,
Yeah.
that's where, you have a lot of your alcoholism, you have a lot of your addiction issues
Mhm.
because that's how
A lot of
you
coping
deal with it. Yeah,
mechanisms,
exactly right. Exactly right.
right? It's coping.
Yeah,
Healthy, unhealthy, right? There's a gradients to it. But you're absolutely right. A lot of us say we can figure it out, but then we solve the situation
right. Yeah.
and not the systems that we built that has that. We covered a part of this in the Groundhog Day episode
Hmm.
where we just keep repeating it over and over, and we're trying to figure out what's happening until we recognize what that core challenge is, core system thing is.
Yeah.
It's harder to unlock.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that because of there's so much out there. There's so much out there in terms of what can stress you out. It's tough. It's
It is.
really, really tough, and to think otherwise, or to think that, talking to a coach is a component, not the smoking
Yes.
gun, right?
No.
They're just it's but to get the help somewhere to help identify the stressors, identify what's
Hmm.
going on in your life that is, kicking these things into high gear on a daily basis. I think that's just a great start, and to give yourself credit for seeing an individual or individuals
Hmm.
because it's coming, from from my standpoint is, and to yours as well, it's tiring. It's very tiring
Yes.
to be at a 10 out of 10 on a stress level because your energy is
Right.
going into that and not
Hmm.
something else that could be
Yeah.
more productive to being a little more relaxed.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
No, like,
imagine that.
you know, we don't even have to be at a 10 out of 10 on
Mm,
stress, right? This is an activity that I do often where um take the lightest object you have around you, right? Whatever it is, and go ahead and
yeah.
free form hold it in front of you and just keep holding it,
Yeah.
right? It's at a certain point your arm will start to fatigue, your wrist will start to fatigue. It's not the 10 out of 10, it can be a 1 out of 10, but the longer we hold on to the stress, right, our body has to modify to keep carrying that stress along,
Right.
right? Um, it's a recognition of if we have not just one but two things or three
Mm,
things that we're
yeah.
carrying, right? All those small 1 out of 10 stressors add up. It accumulates and accumulates until we feel that burden, right? Where it's not a 10 out of 10 situation that got us there.
Yeah.
It's really all
Absolutely.
these small things,
Yeah.
small stressors.
Right.
And then we just have another small thing that gets us to react, right? Gets us to express our frustration, but it doesn't beat the situation. This is where we
Yeah.
get in trouble often.
That's
It's
right.
like, it, I don't know why you are yelling or why you're
Yeah.
so frustrated. I just asked if I could borrow your pen.
Right. Right.
Right? It's because a lot of the little things that we're like, yeah, I got this, I got this, I got this, right? We take on without recognizing that each of them compounds the weight and the stress that we carry.
And I think that you mentioned something about taking responsibilities on, right?
Hmm.
And if we just apply that to work,
Yes.
and if you are doing certain things and then you are being told, okay, add one more thing, add one more thing, add one more thing, it's the addition of the stressors as well as if I don't, then what? Will
Yeah.
I still have my job? Will I still be
Right.
seen in the same light? Will I still be able to get that
Yes.
promotion because I didn't,
Hmm.
take on these responsibilities? So therefore, there's a lot of stress on the action of accepting the responsibilities,
Yes.
not just the responsibilities themselves. So
Right.
that's
Secondary
got to be a
stress.
heck of a challenge, right? Just because you're now receiving more and more responsibilities to add on to
Yeah.
your stress level.
Yeah. Yeah. No. You touch on something what we call like secondary stressors.
Mm,
Right? The primary is the task, let's say. Then the secondary is the thought about the task,
mm,
the impressions, right? All these other components that go along with it. the previous example of carrying a pen, right? Or whatever the lightest weight item is, the longer you carry it, the more meaning you give it,
Right. Yeah.
right? The more meaning you give it, you may not even recognize why you're giving it such significance, but we're still doing it. We're still carrying it because, well, what if I need something XYZ later? It's so much easier to put a pen down and say, you know what, I'm not going to need the pen for the next 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is. And when I do need it, I will go and find it because I know where I put it down. But many of us, myself included, right? I will carry something in the hopes that when I need it, I'll have it. And that's just added
Yeah.
burden that we move life with. And that's also where I see so many clients in that burnout stage of I'm taking out all these projects, I'm doing all these things, but I just can't seem to get a breath. I feel
Yeah.
I'm constantly underwater.
So is it better
Mhm.
to show it or to hide it?
Oh my gosh. Is it better to show it or hide it?
If you're having all these stressors,
Neither.
right? I mean,
Neither, because when you're hiding it, you're not being authentic,
right,
right? And when you're showing it, right, you can also damage your reputation, your
right,
image,
right.
right? This is where it's so important to have a strategic perspective
Mm,
of this, where when do I need to hide it and when do I
yep,
need to show it? Because that vulnerability of showing I'm stressed can empower so many of our team members, colleagues, everyone to start sharing the burden that we're doing too much, we're carrying too much right now. We need to modify our system, we need to modify our priorities so we can have that, right? Now, if it's a situation where you're given a once in a career opportunity, right? You can show that stress, but then the confidence in your ability will be diminished by
mhm,
hiding it. Again, I'm going to put a big asterisk here. All right. By hiding it, you can still accomplish your goal, perhaps, but hide it from the people that may be in a place of power to
yeah,
help you
mhm,
influence that. Right.
right,
But then show your stress to your mentor, to your coach, to your peer who have your back and who want you to succeed. Right. And it's this is where the question is tough. When do you do what? And sometimes we do the opposite
yeah,
in the wrong time,
exactly right.
right? And how do we recover from it? Because it's okay to say like, oh, man, this is a period where I should have hid from person A, person B, but they saw my stress because I reacted, right?
And to
I
explain
showed my
yourself, and
stress.
now it's very messy to kind of not cover your trails, but
Yeah.
to explain yourself, and maybe from that it comes a
Mhm.
conversation with whomever to
Yeah.
say, this is the reason why I felt the way I felt, and maybe somehow a solution can be discussed.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely, absolutely. And this is so crucial. I want to make sure like people take note of this. That's a human experience
Mm,
of expressing your stress to a person that you maybe should have hid it from just a little bit.
right.
But human experience, say if you hide from that conversation of somebody that showed who you how do I say this? Person you showed your stressor to, you
Yep.
shouldn't have. You can just go up to them and say, like, hey, you saw me in a very stressed environment, stress project,
Mm,
but here is what I'm doing about this.
yeah.
And the reason for my stress was ABC. If you have a healthy leader or person, they'll see it as like, yeah, I've been there, I've done that.
Yeah.
Because we all have.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
all have, right? But when you have somebody that may be not as healthy, maybe in the toxic side, right?
Hmm.
Then they can use that and weaponize that.
Mm,
But again, it is better to know who is on a healthier side, who is on a more toxic side
right.
earlier on,
Right.
rather than to keep getting closer to them and recognize I have been, I don't know what the term is, hitching my something
Hitching my
behind
wagon.
the rock. Hitching
Hitching
my
a wagon.
wagon. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitching my wagon. And,
Right.
it's so much. This is where, like, taking responsibility and ownership of your reactions early on. Yes, that is scary. That is
Hmm.
stressful.
Hmm.
Like, that's going to get my palms sweaty, right? I'm going to feel nervous. When I do that early on, I get to realize, okay, this person is someone that I can build a healthy relationship with rather than they did not have the EQ right? The healthy intelligence to take on what I was experiencing.
And I can only imagine how there are some
Yeah.
individuals out there where they are high stress jobs or high stress
Hmm.
occupations or just we'll just say I mean I'll say sports in an occupational sense where there is just it's the World Series, it's the Super Bowl, it's football, a Monday night football, and
Right.
they have to be just tremendously stressed because there's
Yeah.
so much pressure, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's constantly a stressful scenario because your performance truly matters on a game by
Mhm.
game basis. And if you perform poorly, then
Yes.
your financial value decreases
Mhm.
dramatically.
Mhm.
And so
It
I
does.
can only imagine how that looks
Right.
from their perspective in terms of
Oh
just
my
trying
gosh.
to stay cool, even though it's just, there's so much
Yeah.
riding on your performance.
Yeah. I will. I can't believe we talked about Severance, and I'm gonna bring up Ted Lasso.
Love it.
All right, two Apple
Fantastic.
TV
Way to
shows.
go, Apple TV.
Uh,
Promote us, please.
right. The reason I bring up Ted Lasso when you have you seen the series?
I have, yes.
Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't. Ted Lasso doesn't focus on the sport,
Right. That's a
right?
good
It
point. Yeah.
focuses on the culture.
Right.
Right? The winning doesn't happen on the game field. It happens in the culture, in the practice,
Mhm.
in everything before you even get there, right? And this is essentially what we're talking about. If you are prepared early enough,
Mm.
as you're listening to this podcast, right? You're taking some notes, you're recognizing your triggers, you are establishing who you need to hide some of your stress from and who you need to show and create that vulnerability with, all these things you're preparing so when that situation comes, or if you're in that
Yeah.
situation right now, you can have a healthy conversation where the ownership, the vulnerability is on you and you're being strategic on how and where you share it,
Yeah.
right? Again, cultural change takes time, systemic
Yeah.
change takes time. Solving a situation or disregarding a situation, right? It might make you feel better in the moment, but it's going to erode the culture, the systems that you've
Yeah.
built. And this is where I find many of us solving problems, but not systems.
Yeah.
And we keep finding ourselves repeating the same things over and over again because we're solving problems and not doing the assessment
Right.
and getting that support
Yeah.
to look at the system as a whole.
Because doing that, well, working
Yeah.
on not focusing on the system is essentially following the path of least resistance. If you react
Yes.
accordingly, that's the easier choice, right?
Yeah.
Versus if you need to do some self reflection and look at the triggers and talk to
Mhm.
somebody and have conversations that are challenging about those triggers
Right.
with yourself or with whomever, that again, that takes more time. And maybe, I mean, like I said, I am guilty of that and I know what my triggers are, but that
Uh,
took a while and it could have probably been identified earlier in life versus later in life.
yeah.
But to the point of, it's just vital for that to happen, to
Mhm.
just to have those conversations sooner rather than later because it does not go away. It
No,
just
it doesn't.
doesn't.
It doesn't. I wish it did, right?
Seriously.
Again, we don't talk about timelines here, right? Let's say earlier in life,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
I wished like I
mhm,
wouldn't have these panic attacks. I wouldn't
mhm.
be so stressed so quickly. I wouldn't, I wished for all these things to be gone, right? It was not until way later that I started recognizing, oh, I'm actually calmer than I used to be
Mm,
because I had built my practice in meditation, in building strategies, in coping, in counseling, in coaching. All these steps that I took over
yeah,
the years,
yeah,
right, got me to a place where you're seeing me look calm, even
yeah,
though many things might seem like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening.
yeah,
But again, it took so many years of me recognizing my systems. Well, not really. It took me a long time before I got there.
yeah.
Problem solving, problem solving. I got more efficient at problem solving.
Mm,
Then I recognized, like, hey, there's a system behind it. So counseling, coaching helped me recognize the systems I had and then continue to optimize my system. So I don't get to a 3, I don't get to a 4 before I do something. I act,
got it. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So remember, like when it gets to impacting my sleep, that's when I act. That used to be my 8-9.
Right.
Now that's my 4-5
Right.
because I've over the years built up that bandwidth, like anyone can, right? Build up that bandwidth to hold more stress. Or let me not say that. That's
We'll
terrible.
say that it's
Manage my stress.
there you go.
Yeah, let things go, let things
Yes.
lie, which are
Yes.
not serving me, right? Yeah, I think that that's where I want us to focus on because the path to stress-free life does not exist.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's no way. I mean, that's such a huge fallacy. It
It
really is.
is. It really is. But there is a way where we can manage our stress so we're not responding. We're responding, not reacting.
Right.
That can
Right.
be harmful. In recognizing what stress is eustress, helpful stress motivates us. What stress is distress, tears it down, drains our energy. And if we can find a balance between the two, right, we can pair it so we are gaining that energy from our eustress and then depleting some energy from the distress and then gaining
Mhm.
energy, reducing energy, so there's an equilibrium in the process.
As much as there can be. As much as there can be. That's
Yes,
to get to that point is
yes,
takes a lot of work.
it
A
does.
lot of work.
It does.
But it's healthier if you do it soon. Again, I go back to this a lot. It's healthier to
Mhm.
do it sooner rather than later.
Yes, yes. I know in our last episode we talked about um, time is the cheapest right now.
Mhm.
What you do
Yeah.
right now matters. As people that are listening to this podcast, watching us on YouTube, um, take those small steps, that 1% step that Ian's mentioned, right?
Yeah.
And we keep bringing it back every episode, that 1% over 100 days, that's 100%,
Yeah.
right? That's 100%. That's a brand new you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
consistency and you just have to have the energy to do it. And again, I go back to it is not easy and it will not be easy. And even
Mhm.
just the process itself is going to be
Yeah.
very, very challenging and it's going to be time consuming. But the more progress that you're showing, the less you
Mhm.
want to go back to the person you were before or the person you were when
Right.
you started.
Yeah, yeah. Like April, I just Google this.
Hmm.
April 11th is 100th day from January 1st. So if you started
Mm,
working on
yeah.
yourself January
Right.
1st, 1%, by mid-April, you will have recognized a new person. No, it's not that long. It's crazy. It's not
Yeah.
that long.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So I know. We don't do dates. We don't do countdowns, but yet every single episode, I feel like I break that rule. I am looking at the time, Ian.
Yes.
What are some parting thoughts you have?
I would say that recognize your stressors and see what you can do to reach out to someone to talk to them about your stressors to help you get or continue to be on a path to, even though you're going to be stressed out, you're going to be stressed. Just talk to somebody to say why you're stressed about certain things, and maybe they can help you start the
Mhm.
process of identification and just, working on yourself.
Start today.
Yeah.
Start today.
Anything from you?
You
Any
know,
last thoughts from yourself, Sim?
yeah. Stress looks different on everyone, right? Give compassion, have compassion, because we never know what another person is going through, and we also don't share what we're going through. So create the space, have the compassion, so we can start sharing more about our stress in
Yeah.
a healthy environment,
Yeah.
right? Until next time.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the conversation. We hope this episode has given you some insight on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilling career. Please find Beyond the 9 to 5, a balanced career on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. Thank you for joining us.